This lesson is about parallel and perpendicular lines, and in particular, we're going to talk about their slopes. Okay, so we've said before, I think that the lines that are parallel have the same slope, and lines that are perpendicular, here's the symbol, have slopes that are opposite reciprocals. Okay, we're going to talk more about that in just a moment, but the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at lines on a graph. So if we look here at, let me move this up, this graph, okay, and we see some lines here, and we're going to determine what are the slopes of these lines. So the first line is this horizontal line right here, line A. Well, when we think of slopes on a graph, y'all probably remember the idea of rise over run. So we can pick any 2 points on a line. So let's see on this line, let's pick this point here, and maybe this point right here. So the rise, well, we don't go up and down at all. So that would be a rise of 0, and we go to the right 3, or you could think of it as going to the left 3. Doesn't matter which way you look, because 0 divided by anything is 0. So the slope of a horizontal line is always going to be 0. Okay, now let's look at the slope of line B. Well, line B is this line right here. And so let's use the 2 points that they've put on the line for us, here and here. So again, we can, let me clear that up a little bit. We can do rise over run. So I'm going to go up 4 and to the left 3. So up is positive, to the left is negative. Have 4 over negative 3. What if you'd gone the other direction? Well, I could have gone down 4, so that's a negative 4, but then I go to the right 3. So that is also a negative 4/3. So you could just simply write that as negative 4 over 3. So that is the slope of that line. The next line we have is line C. Line C is this line right here. It is a vertical line. Well, again, if you're going to pick 2 points, let's see, I could pick this point here, maybe this point here, and I go up 3, but to the right or left, I don't move. So that is 3 over 0. And hopefully you remember that division by 0 is always undefined. So the slope of this line is undefined. So anytime you have a vertical line, any vertical line, the slope will be undefined. Anytime you have a horizontal line, the slope will also be undefined. And when those meet, they meet at a right angle. And so a horizontal and a perpendicular line would be a horizontal and a vertical line are perpendicular. Okay, the last one is D. So on line D, let's see, I can go up 1 and to the right 5, positive 1 over 5. Or down 1, negative 1 over negative 5, which is also a positive 1 over 5. Okay, staying with slope now, we're going to move, and we're not going to have a graph, but we're going to have 2 points. So when we have 2 points, we could graph them, or we can use the formula y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So it doesn't matter which point you start with. Let's start with negative 2, and then we'll subtract a positive 5. So negative 2 minus 5, and then xx, so negative 3 minus 4. I get negative 7 over negative 7, which is a positive 1. What if we'd gone the other direction? That's fine. We could have said 5 minus a negative 2. Minus a negative becomes positive. 4 minus a negative 3. 4 plus 3, and we get 7 over 7, which is also 1. So in the formula, it doesn't matter which is y1, which is y2. Let me fix something in that formula right there. I just noticed it should say y2 minus y1. Okay, so now let's look at number 6, and you will see we can say negative 11 minus a negative 7, so plus 7, 14 minus 8, and you get negative 4 over 6. You can simplify that to a negative 2/3. So you can find the slope using the equations, and then next, let's look at it just a little differently, And that is, again, we're going to use this idea. Parallel lines have the same slope, and perpendicular lines have opposite reciprocals. So let's think of what is an opposite reciprocal. If the slope of one line was 2 over 3, what's the slope of a line parallel? Well, it's also 2 over 3, because they're the same. But what would be the slope of a line perpendicular? Well, you have to flip it over and change the sign. So a positive 2/3 and a negative 3 over 2 are opposite reciprocals. Okay? So now let's find the slopes in the other equations here when they're written like this. Okay, the first one, y equals 5, x equals negative 2. What does that look like? Well, let's see. If we have a graph, y equals 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a line that goes through y at 5. Think of it if you have a hard time seeing that one. Here's the point 0, 5. Over here might be the point 5, 5. Maybe this point is negative 2, 5. But what do these all have in common? Y is always 5. So we get the equation y equals 5. So let's think of x equals negative 2. Well, you can't even see that color. Let's try this one. Here's x, here's negative 2. So we would draw a line through x at negative 2. Think about it here. This point is negative 2, 0. This point is negative 2, 2. This point down here might be negative 2, negative 3. But x is always negative 2. So that's what these two lines look like. And of course, this is a right angle. So a vertical line and a horizontal line have slopes that are opposite reciprocals, and the lines are parallel. Okay, a couple more. This one here, hopefully you remember y equals mx plus b. That is the formula for the equation of a line in y-intercept form, where m is your slope and b is your y-intercept. Well, these are already in that form, so all we have to do is look at the coefficient of x. Negative 3 over 2. Over here, positive 2 over 3. So those lines are said to be perpendicular because their slopes are opposite reciprocals. Okay, two more. The next one looks like this. Okay, they've already done the work for us. Y is by itself. This one, the slope is negative 2. This one, the slope is positive 2. Think about that. Are those numbers the same? No, I have a negative 2 and a positive 2. They're not the same, so they are not parallel. Are they opposite reciprocals? Well, the reciprocal of negative 2 would be negative 1/2. The opposite reciprocal would be a positive 1/2. The opposite reciprocal of a positive 2 is a negative 1/2, okay? Those are not opposite reciprocals. So we would say that these are neither. They are neither parallel, nor are they perpendicular. All right, we have one more. Let's see what's different on this one. These are not in y-intercept form, but all you need to do is put them that way. So we want these to look like y equals mx plus b, so we simply solve for y. In the first one, it looks like all we have to do is divide everything by 4, and we get y equals 1/2 plus 6. In the second one now, let's see, this y is not by itself at all. We have this plus 4x, so we need to subtract that from both sides. And then we have 2y is equal to negative 4x minus 6. Okay, that looks better, but now we still need to divide everything by 2, and we get y is equal to negative 2 minus 3. Negative 2x, I should say, minus 3. Are those opposite reciprocals? Yes, they are. Okay, we have a slope of, let's see, get my pen back, positive 1/2, negative 2. Those are opposite reciprocals. The other thing you're going to be asked to do is to graph these. So I'm just going to quickly draw a little graph here. This has a y-intercept of 6, so that means I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Put a dot there. It has a slope of 1 over 2. I'm going to think of that as a negative 1 over a negative 2. Okay, that's still a positive 1/2. So I do that so I can just go down 1 and to the left 2, down 1 and to the left 2. I could have gone up 1 and to the right 2 as well. Okay, so this is the equation of this line. Now let's graph the other line. So my y-intercept is negative 3. So I have a point here, and I have a slope of negative 2. So negative 2 over 1 or 2 over negative 1. So that's what I'm going to use. This one, I'm going to go up 2 to the left 1, up 2 to the left 1, up 2 to the left 1, and my little hand-drawn paper, it's not exactly right, but here we go. Those are the equations of the two lines, and yes, they are perpendicular. This right here is a right angle. Tomorrow we're going to continue on this, okay? But this is enough for today. Thank you.